Good evening. This open meeting of the Newbury Conservation Commission is being conducted remotely, consistent with Governor Baker's executive order of March 12, 2020, extended until March 31st, 2025, due to the current state of emergency in the Commonwealth due to the outbreak of COVID-19. In order to mitigate the transmission of COVID-19, we have been advised and directed by the Commonwealth to suspend public gatherings, and as such, the governor's order suspends the requirement of open meeting law to have all meetings in a publicly accessible physical location. Further, all members of the public bodies are allowed and encouraged to participate remotely. The order, which you can find posted with the agenda materials for this meeting, allows public bodies to meet entirely remotely so long as reasonable public access is afforded, so that the public can follow along with the deliberations of the meeting. Please note this meeting is being recorded and that the attendees are participating by video conference. All right, hang on everyone. I just want to make sure that we don't have anyone in the waiting room. Okay. All right. I see Mary.
Mary's here.
Okay, great. All right, let's go to the first order of business. Sorry for the delay in opening the meeting, team. Going to blame it on CrowdStrike or whatever the heck that crazy app was that shut down most of the country for a couple of days. All right, upcoming meeting dates, August 20th, September 3rd, and September 17th. Meeting minutes review, the July 16th, 2024 meeting minutes were in the Dropbox. Why don't we take a moment to take a look at those? See if we have any comments, corrections, or concerns. Okay, any questions or concerns on this? Hearing none, I'll entertain a motion to approve the minute meeting for the July 16th meeting as written.
So moved.
Second.
Okay. Roll call, all in favor. Mary.
Yes.
TJ.
Aye.
Woody. No Woody. Mick.
Aye.
Diane.
Yes.
And Bob Connors votes yes. All right. Next order of business. Team, we've been keeping these enforcement orders on the agenda. They are there's been a little bit of confusion. There was a possibility, according to our state delegation, it was a likely possibility that there was going to be a tolling of permits. And so we did share that with a couple of people that have enforcement orders because of expired order conditions that were recently expired and possibly might have been eligible for that. They have been informed that in fact that did not take place. And even when they were notified of the potential, the enforcement order was in full force until it was either amended or closed. So I see Vince Gooden is on the call. Vince, why don't you give us a quick update on where you're at? You're on mute, Vince.
Hi, how are you? Vincent Godin, 28 Harvard Way. I'm one of the owners of the Cottages Commercial. Yeah, unfortunately, we had kind of pivoted to having the engineers maybe work on an amendment in anticipation of the passing of the bill. But when we saw that it didn't happen as of August 1st, I believe, we informed them to kind of move back to starting a new NOI. At this point, we're not going to try and wait for potentially the next legislative session. It's just going to take too much time and uncertainty. So we just figure at this point just to go in with the new NOI. At this point, we've already had some discussions with Joe Swartzka about a couple of the groundwater and garden issues that we needed to finalize, and we wanted to make sure that he was on board with what we were planning on submitting to make sure that once it got through here, it also got through the planning board and didn't get bounced back and forth. So we submitted a formal letter to him. I'm not sure when in the last week the engineers did it, but hopefully we will have that finalized and then be able to submit the new NOI.
Okay. Vince, do you have an ETA on when you'll be submitting the NOI?
I've told the engineers at this point to just make the assumption, given that they've had conversations with Joe already, to just make the application under the assumption that there's an agreement in place, even though we haven't gotten his okay on any formal document yet. And if we have to do a last second pivot, we will. But at this point, I've told them to move forward and that we will try and get it in the next week.
Okay, so we'll expect you to be on the August 20th agenda with your NOI application.
What is the how many days does notification? I just want to make sure if they can't get
If
me.
you get it submitted, I think it's getting it filed.
Okay.
You may not be eligible for your hearing on August 20th, but I think the important thing is to get it submitted and get the
Correct.
clock started. And whether it's August 20th or September 3rd, I think once you pull the trigger, that's what the commission, at least my impression of what the commission is looking to do, just to get this
Okay.
happen.
Yeah, definitely planning on having it submitted. Whether or not we make the timing as far as the newspaper and notices, that I'm not sure.
Okay, so you'll have a submittal in by August 20th.
Correct.
Okay. Team, any questions on that? Does that cover basically where we're at on this?
No.
Mary, any questions?
No,
on
I
that?
think August 20th would be 2 weeks prior to the September 3rd meeting, and that would be the meeting
Right.
filing deadline for that meeting.
Okay. Okay, TJ, any comments on this?
Nope.
Mick, any comment?
No questions. Thank you.
Hey, Diane, any comments or questions for Vince on this?
Nope.
Okay, and I have none. Vince, thank you. We'll let us know how you're making out, and we'll expect to see your application submitted by August 20th.
Great.
Okay, thank you.
Talk then.
Okay, the next matter is we have an enforcement order on 105 Northern Boulevard for unpermitted yard work. In the Dropbox, a replanting, revegetation plan has been submitted. The respondent was on the last call, and they're ordering beach grass and anticipating a late fall planting based on availability. So it doesn't really require any other action on our part, more of an update.
Okay.
Hey, any questions on that one? Everyone good on that one? That's just more, you know what, team, I'm keeping the enforcement orders on just so that we keep an eye on them and we get to monitor them a little bit.
I
Okay,
think maybe we skipped over an item, Bob,
which one?
continued public hearings for 18 Temple
Oh,
Boulevard.
yeah, no, you know what, the agenda was out of order. We always do enforcement orders prior to.
Okay,
The next matter is the continued public hearing.
got
and
it.
that-
Okay, thank you.
Yep, sorry about that. Okay, next order of business is a continued public hearing, DEP file number 0501424, 18 Temple Boulevard West, for an addition of a deck, elevated walk to dwelling, and reclamation and expansion of existing parking area. Team, if you recall, the applicant was before us at our last meeting. They had presented a scaled down version of the original plan. I'm aware that Tom Hughes has met with the technical consultant analyst that had offered the original technical comments on this filing. And we were just really awaiting. Tom wanted to hold off us making any further determination until he had that opportunity to speak with the analyst. And so, Tom, I'm going to stop there. Why don't you introduce yourself and give us a quick recap of where we're at?
Yeah, sure. As the chair reminded the commission, we wanted to try to take advantage of the DEP site visit that was around the corner on a project that DEP did appeal after we felt we had addressed the comments on that project. We did not want to have a second appeal. So the analyst was willing to meet me at 18 Temple after that site visit on the appeal. And we went down there and I went through my response with him. He actually was relieved. He agreed with me that things that looked like they were vegetated from the photographs really weren't, that it was pine needles. He saw the unvegetated area. He saw that the revised project was in an area with far less vegetative impact and really kind of right up against the house. And that the location where the shed was going was in an area of invasive honeysuckle and sand. So he seemed satisfied and gave him a full-size set of the plans to take back to the office with him. And we feel comfortable that we've addressed that. And at this point, unless the commission wants me to pull up the plans, I would just ask that we close and issue, unless you want to see if there's any abutters here. I know that both Tom and Jenny are here, my clients, and they're anxious to move forward and get this project done.
Okay, well, Tom, why don't I stop you there and let me open this up to questions from the members and then from the public if there are any raised hands. Mary, any questions for Tom on this project?
My recollection was that we were comfortable with the plans as revised.
Right.
I think we might have mentioned some special conditions, although I don't remember what exactly they were. Tom was going to work on an order of conditions.
Yeah, and I've started 3 of them, 2 for prior hearings from the last meeting, and this one. I'm not quite done with them, but there's nothing. I didn't recall any special conditions on this project, but I'm certainly.
Yeah, Mary, that might have
incorporating
been
any.
on 36 or 40 Northern. We had a couple of special
Yeah.
conditions that we had added because they were tear downs and full rebuilds.
Mhm.
But anything else, Mary? I'll circle back
thank you.
once we go through. Okay, thank you, Mary. TJ, any questions for Tom on this project?
No questions. I knew we were just waiting on the meeting with the DEP agent, so if that's straightened out, we're good.
Okay, Mick, any questions for Tom?
Nope, no questions here. I'm all set. Thank you. Thanks,
Okay,
Tom.
thank you.
Yeah.
Diane, any questions for Tom on this project?
Nope, thank you.
Okay, I do not have any questions on this project. Team, are there any raised hands? I'm going to ask you all to look. I have about 4 open screens here, and you're all the size of a postage stamp. So I see that we
I
have-
do not see any raised
Don't
hands.
see any.
I don't see any.
Okay. Do any members have a request for any additional information, plan amendment, or adding additional content to this notice of intent?
No.
Nope.
Okay. I'll entertain a motion to close the public hearing.
So moved.
Second?
Okay, roll call, all in favor. Mary,
Yes.
TJ,
Aye.
Mick,
Aye.
Diane,
Yes.
and Bob Connors votes yes. All right, team, this would be the time we would discuss any special conditions that we may be entertaining. But as my recollection serves me, on this one, we didn't have any particular special conditions, especially where the project had been scaled down dramatically. But any special conditions that we want to consider?
Nope.
Okay. All right, I'll entertain a motion to issue an order of conditions for 18 Temple Boulevard West with our usual conditions.
So moved.
Second?
Okay. Roll call, all in favor. Mary,
Yes.
TJ,
Aye.
Mick,
Aye.
Bob Connors, Diane, excuse me, Diane
Yes.
O'Brien, and Bob Connors votes yes. This has been a hectic day. Do you know what? Trying to get into these meetings is actually worse than trying to run the damn things, I think. But,
Superman.
oh my
Thank
God.
you so much, everybody, and have a great night.
Bye,
Okay.
Tom.
Thank you,
All right,
Tom.
thank you, Tom.
Bye, Tom.
The next order of business is a notice of intent, DEP file number 0501431, 80 Boston Road, Essex County, Greenbelt, for construction of a 5-foot wide gravel all-access trail and a wooden 12x12 viewing platform. I see Dave Rimmer. Dave, why don't you just give us your name, address, and rank and serial number, and
Bob, if I could interject, just, I would like to abstain from this for obvious reasons that I'm married to the
yes,
applicant,
Mary.
so thank you.
Okay. David, welcome.
Bob, thanks, Bob and commissioners. Right, so I'm Dave Rimmer, actually a resident of Newbury at 57 Boston Road. But I work as the Director of Stewardship for the Greenbelt Association. I think many of you are familiar with our work around the county and in Newbury. So we have a property at 80 Boston Road called the Jenny Legoulis Reservation. It's also got some other names. It often goes by the name Four Rock or Devil's Den. And there's some old silver and other mines that are on this property. It's a really nice property with a small parking area. I'm sure you're all familiar with it. If you go to the transfer station, you drive right by it probably every time. So quickly, one of the things Greenbelt has been trying to do across the county is create more what we call all access or ADA compliant trails. We identified an opportunity to do that here at the Legoulis Reservation. That's the plan that we put forward with the notice of intent. I can share my screen and pull up the plan if that would be helpful.
That'd be great, David.
Okay, let me see if I can pull that off. Are you seeing that?
Yes, we
Yep.
can, David. Thank you.
Great. Okay, so let me just, if you look up here in the upper right corner, you sort of see an orientation of where the property is. It's actually several parcels. So 80 is one of two parcels we own. We actually own 82 as well, which is actually larger than 80. But 80 is where this project is occurring. So if I was to orient you a little bit, at the far right side of this plan is Boston Road. And then we have our small gravel park. Can you see my cursor moving?
Yes,
Great.
we can.
So,
Yep.
so here's the small parking area that we have for about 6 vehicles. The existing path that goes up and out and eventually across the boardwalk and out onto the rest of the property. This is what we're proposing here, which is this 5-foot wide, not completely level, but never more than 2% grade, 5-foot wide trail leading out to this wooden platform that we would build that would also be ADA compliant and accessible. We've had the wetlands delineated, and they're on this plan, and the buffer zone is shown as the red line. So we've stayed outside the buffer zone. Oh no, I'm sorry, we haven't stayed completely outside. I think that's the let's see. No, I'm sorry. This is the buffer zone here. So we're within the buffer zone, but the red line is oh, I'm sorry. The red line is the erosion control barrier. I stand corrected. So we are operating within the buffer zone, but not within the resource area itself. The closest we come to the resource area is right here at the beginning. So very quickly, the process would be there's a small amount of vegetation clearing that would need to happen. No large trees, but some undergrowth, smaller trees, kind of under 6-inch caliper type trees. And then we would hire someone to do that work, and then we would hire someone else to come in and do a little bit of site work to prep the area for the trail, build the trail, and then the final piece would be to hire a carpenter of some sort to come in and build this deck, which we do have some detail of that on the second sheet here. It would be on helical piles, so not on poured concrete footings or anything like that. These are examples of the helical piles. They work very well. We've used them in other areas. It's pretty straightforward project from that standpoint. Happy to answer any other questions at this point. Ideally, we'd like to do the work this fall. We think it's probably it might not happen in consecutive days. The site work will happen with the trees and whatnot, a little bit of clearing, and then we'll follow that up with probably 5 days of trail construction. And then probably, I'm guessing it's going to be at least a week or even 2 for them to build out this viewing platform. So probably over a month from start to finish would be the construction timeline.
Okay, David, why don't I stop you there and I'll open this up to questions from the members. David, one question, what do you anticipate for using for equipment to do your clearing? You thinking more mini excavator, bobcat, or something? What are you thinking?
Yes. Either I've been talking to a local Newbury or Byfield contractor that we've worked with who's done other jobs for us. Rob Maslevy, some of you may know Rob. He does have a mini excavator that he thought would be the appropriate piece of equipment for this work. There's really not any, you don't need to bust stone or really do much there. It's just going to be a little bit of grading. Might have to bring down the grade in some places, bring it up in others to make it level. But yeah, so mostly just a mini X.
Okay. And what do you plan on doing with the spoils, the whatever, underbrush?
Everything would go off site, Bob.
Okay.
Unless
Alright.
unless it's reused to, level or, grade out the edges of the trail, but we won't be leaving any of the spoils on site.
Okay. And do you have a staging area shown on your plan where you're going to kind of stage from?
That's a good point, and that's not shown on the plan, but it would be the parking area.
Okay.
Where we would stage the lumber, stage deliveries of gravel. Vehicles can park there. Vehicles can be unloaded and loaded there. It's not a large parking area, but it's, he might unload the mini out on the street.
Sure.
and bring it in that way. But, a pickup truck or two, certainly a dump truck can back into that spot and deliver gravel.
Okay. Mick, any questions for David on this project?
Yeah, no, you covered a little bit. I had read some of the notes, David, and commend you guys for taking this project on. Really is a great thing. But I know that part of this trail here, kind of at the southern end, was to negate kind of that steep section of trail, right, going down in.
Right here.
Right along there, yeah. So
Yeah.
will you be abandoning that or try to limit access to that, or is that still going to be open, or?
It's a great question. So one thing I didn't mention, but it was the very last paragraph in my narrative, was that this property is subject to a conservation easement held by Mass Fish and Game.
Oh, okay.
And they needed to approve this, and any new trails they need to approve. They did approve this project, and I included that letter in the package. But they also requested that we close that existing trail that goes steeply up right here and then
Mhm.
drops over.
Right.
Some of you may remember, sorry to interrupt, some of you may remember the Merrowhawk Nature School was very active at this site for 6 or 8 years. A couple of years ago, they moved to another site in Boxford, and they've basically discontinued use of this site in any way. So they used to have little campfires and little areas that they would take the children and do outdoor activities. So, and this was one of the main areas where they did it, was right in here. So yeah, this trail will get closed, and basically this trail will now just come around. I think we might let people come back up to the knoll, but we'll close the trail coming back to the lot. So just be the single trail going out.
Interesting. Oh, great. No, I like I said, I think it's I commend you and your association for taking this project on. It's a great thing.
Thank you.
As far as the tree removal, you mentioned you're not going to be like pulling roots and try to leave root systems intact. We're going to take trees, say at ground level, as far as stumping things off. If you're going to be removing, you said up to 6 inches
I mean,
diameter, but it's like about 3 inches DBH, basically. I think that's
yeah,
what I read.
mean, I don't think there's, any too much larger than that. we're basically kind of wove the trail through the trees
Mhm.
when we laid it out. So there are some large pines and other trees in this area, as you will recall.
Yep.
And there is a pretty large one that's fallen over in the beginning here that we need to remove, and we would remove
Understood.
the stump ball in that case. And any of those smaller trees that would be in the path we would probably want to try to dig out those root balls just to stabilize the soil a little bit more.
Mhm.
But we don't envision any really large trees needing to come out.
Okay. Yeah, and just if we could, I'd love the opportunity to maybe walk the trail with, once you have kind of the trail staked out and your trees to be, or plants to be removed, staked out, I'd like the opportunity to just take a walk with you and see
Sure.
what we're gonna keep and what's gonna go. And we had talked about grading and things like that. I encourage you, unless the soils are visibly impacted, as indication of impact, try to reuse any soils you can on site. One, it's gonna, maintain soils in situ and minimize, spoils that you have to remove and have disposed of. So I'd say reuse what soils you can on site. That would be my suggestion.
Yeah, Mick, I anticipate a site visit too,
Yeah,
before we,
Okay,
I think that would probably be the next step, but, so, Mick, I'll circle back with you too.
yeah, no, it's great. No, David, appreciate it. Thanks for the
Sure.
opportunity.
Okay,
Yes.
TJ, any questions for David Rimmer on this project?
Yes, David, on the boardwalk that's listed, that's right off of the path in the northern section.
Yes.
Yeah, that border. What is that? Where does that lead to? It's going right through the resource area, and is that going to be active, or is that existing?
That is existing. It does cross the wetland there in that location. And it was constructed, I forget the year, but when we did some work around this parking area, we permitted a bunch of things through the Newbury Conservation Commission that included this boardwalk. So it's been in place since we've owned this property, which is now probably close to 15 years. And it's just a sort of typical wooden planked boardwalk. It's probably 25 feet long, 30 feet long, something like that.
And what does it lead to? Other trails or?
Oh, yes, I'm sorry. So yes, there's a fairly significant trail system on the balance of the property that you can sort of walk out and loop around and come back. So yes, I'm not showing the entire trail system on the property. I can provide that for the commission if they'd like. But yeah, these are all existing trails, and then there are a slew of existing trails out on the rest of the property.
Okay. Is there a plan in place to maintain that, and how that's being maintained and worked on and cleaned?
We have not really had to maintain it since we built it. It's a little the wood is still solid. It's a little bouncy, in the middle. Because it was built on not on posts driven into the ground, but it was built on what I'll use the term sleeper. So like a couple of 6x6s stacked across, and then it's long planks, 2x12 or 2x10, I can't remember, planks laid longitudinally down across these sleepers. So that was how it was constructed at the time, often referred to as a bog bridge. You see them on trails
Right.
and the Appalachian Trail or whatnot. So that was the technique that was used. The short answer to your question is no, there's not necessarily a plan in place to maintain this, but it's in fairly good shape still. Usually we get 20 or 30 years sometimes out of these wooden boardwalks.
Okay,
TJ, anything else?
that's it.
Okay. Yeah, David, I think if I was picking up what TJ was looking at is in the past on these new construction matters, we had one at the Trustees of Reservation up on Old Town Hill.
Yep.
And I don't recall whether or not they had submitted or we had required a maintenance plan of just the new work. Certainly
Sure.
all the whatever is existing, but a site visit adds a lot of clarity to
Absolutely.
a 8.5 by 11 plan on a monitor. But
Great.
TJ, anything else before I move on?
No, we're good.
Okay, thank you, TJ.
Yep.
Diane, any questions for David Rimmer on this matter?
No, I mean, I read the packet. It was a good presentation. I know DEP just gave it a file number, so I don't know if they're gonna have comments or not. But if we have the site visit, we'll know by then, I imagine.
No, certainly. Yeah, there were no technical comments, and the number actually came in this morning
I did it.
where it came across the portal, which was great to get this thing rolling. So David, I'm going to open this up to see if there's any public comments. But I'm thinking that we typically would ask for a site visit. I think
Yep.
it will add a lot of clarity
Sure.
to what it is, and give us a chance to view this wonder of nature out there. I've not been out in this area, to be honest. Shame
Okay.
on me, but I look forward to it. Okay, team, any other members have any follow-up questions for David before I see if we have any raised hands from the public? Okay, hearing none. Are there any raised hands from the public? I do not see any at this point.
I do not see any, Bob.
Okay,
I do not.
all right. Do any members have a request for a site visit, additional information, plan amendment, or adding additional content to this notice of intent?
Yes.
All
We
right.
would like a site visit.
Okay, well, why don't we do this? David, we've typically have been doing these on Tuesday mornings.
Okay.
And again, I'm just gonna throw this out here. August 12th is next Tuesday. We typically do these around 8:30 if that works. But we've done them at 7:30 as well to accommodate busy work schedules of all parties. Team,
13th.
The
Bob.
13th.
is 13th is Tuesday?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay,
I'm just
I can do
quickly looking at that date and I think that will work just fine.
Mick, how does that look on for your schedule? You're good, Mick? Thank you. All right, well, team, why don't we do this? Is 8 o'clock a good time for everybody? Being that we'll get this out of the way before all our schedules really kick in.
Good for me.
All right,
And
All right,
if
well,
I
so why
Tuesday
don't
the 13th.
we're gonna schedule a site visit for Tuesday, August 13th at 8 a.m. And the address is 80 Boston Road. Is there parking over there? We can park out on the street, David, and then walk in, or?
there is, but I am now seeing, unfortunately, a conflict on Tuesday, the 13th. So and I was going to ask when would the next available morning be if we couldn't do the 13th, but I finally was able to get into my actual Google work calendar to see that I have an unmovable conflict that morning.
How
So-
does Monday, the 12th work for everybody? We're just gonna move it up or forward, I guess.
Almost any other day that week, I'm free. It just so happens that morning well, actually, Monday would be the better morning for me.
Monday, the 12th is good for me.
Monday or Thursday.
Monday, how does the 12th work for you?
Works for me.
Okay, TJ, how about you?
I'll be away on Monday.
Okay. Well, we'll send you pictures and a postcard.
There you
TJ.
go.
Mhm.
All right, so team, why don't we do this? We'll schedule this for Monday, August 12th at 8 a.m. And again, David, be parking for 3 or 4 cars down?
Oh,
there?
yeah,
80
no
feet
problem.
down there? Okay,
Plenty of room.
and we'll meet on site there, and let me just check the weather. Not that this hardy bunch would be afraid of a little rain, but Monday looks like it's gonna be a perfect day. Okay, so David, I think just a couple of questions, we're gonna just looking at my notes. So we're gonna do the site visit for Monday, August 12th.
Yep,
Proposed equipment is gonna be a mini excavator or a Bobcat, but nothing larger than that.
correct.
The supports are going to be the diamond piers is what. they're
Diamond,
looking
I
like.
meant diamond piers,
Yeah.
not helical. Yes, diamond
Okay.
piers.
And the staging area is gonna be the existing parking, you'll haul in, haul out.
Correct.
And I think Mick's comment about on the stumps, depending on the size caliper tree we're cutting down, in the past, we've just had them cut flush to the, to grade.
Right.
But you're almost looking at scrub brush. I think we'll get a better idea what you're actually looking to cut. And you want to pull it out. The
I think
material.
we are. In some areas, it's quite open actually, because there's some pretty large trees in there.
Okay,
I would be concerned if we were leaving a larger, trying to build the trail over a flush cut stump would be challenging, and I don't know if we can, but I'll take a closer look at that before Monday and we can discuss it on Monday. But I think we really tried to avoid any large trees when we laid out the trail.
okay. Do you have a cross section of what the finished surface is gonna look like, David? In your plan?
Let me get back to the sharing.
Because you're proposing a 5-foot wide gravel. Are you looking gravel, pea stone, kind of? Little-
We are looking at basically crushed stone.
Okay,
So
Like a
3/8 3/8 minus
okay.
material.
Yeah, you're trying to create a relatively compact surface for wheeled
Exactly,
access, right?
exactly.
Is that 3/8, is that like an ADA compliant material?
Yes, yes,
Yeah.
yes. It's often referred to as stone dust.
Right.
And yeah,
Site
very
pack,
fine, very
There's many
packed.
nicknames.
We're talking about putting a small, like a little bit of a wooden edging on it, both to contain the material and, for any wheeled vehicles that would be used there, that they wouldn't sort of be able to easily veer off the side. But do we have a cross section? You're seeing the plan on your screen, right?
Yes, we're saying the original plan.
Mhm.
I just don't see a detail that gives us a,
Don't know if there was a cross section of the, I know. Mary's talking to me in my left ear and Commission in my right.
uh,
I can't seem to expand the
well,
view.
you know what, David, I think when you find it would be great, is if not, we may need to add a cross section, just so when you're coming in for a certificate of compliance, it's be no confusion on what, you're gonna be using 6x6 curves on the border for containment, or 2x whatever on edge. Okay, let's see.
So
what we
I'm
got.
sorry.
Oh, there it
So
is, there
here-
it is.
Yeah, it is there. I'm sorry, I was fumbling around there a little bit. Yeah, so what he's calling stone dust. About, he doesn't give a exact width of it there, but
I think if you're going to add if you're gonna add a wood curb on each side of it, David, I'd probably.
add it to the plan.
Yeah, just put that in there so that.
Yep,
3
it's
years
clear.
from now, when everyone's trying to
Sure,
get a certificate on this, that
great.
adds clarity. All right,
Okay.
okay, So David, I'm going to assume you want to request a continuance of
Yes,
the
I would
public
like to-
hearing?
Yeah, request a continuance and we'll see you at the site visit on August 12th at 8 AM at 80 Boston Road.
Okay, I'll entertain a motion to continue the public hearing at the applicant's request to our August 20th meeting.
So moved.
Do we have a second? Okay, roll call, all in favor, TJ,
Aye.
Mick,
Aye.
Diane,
Yes.
and Bob Connors votes yes. David, thank you. See you on Monday.
Okay, good night, everybody.
Good night.
Thank you.
Excuse me, team, I'm just making some notes here. All right, next order of business is a minor modification request to an existing order of conditions. If you recall, it's DEP file number 0501390 26 Northern Boulevard. And if you recall, it was an order for work to replace an existing deck that had fallen into disrepair. And actually, there was a walkway that went down to through the dune. At one point, they were looking to expand it to 36 inches, which would have triggered that being elevated. They elected to just maintain it and keep that in place. It's a renovation of the interior. There was comments made at the public hearing that they were going to add fixed dormer extensions over the windows. But there was no outward expansion from that, from the building outside of that. I see Dave Mullen is on the call. Dave, did everyone get a chance to see? He's looking to put a generator in his parking area. It is gravel. He's proposing putting it on an elevated platform and running it back to the house. And I guess the question was, he wanted to come before us to find out what our thoughts were on this, and if we were going to proceed as a minor modification. He could just add the platform location to his site plan, and we can go from there. But David, why don't I open it up to you? Why don't you just give us your name, address, and correct any misinformation I may have provided.
Thanks, Chairman. So again, David Mullen, I purchased 26 Northern Boulevard 2 years ago, and to the chairman's comments, I've done a modest exterior renovation, doing some interior work that had been 22 years in the making. Looking to add a generator. Originally wanted to put it up closer to the house, out of the parking area, given how sensitive parking is here and how much parking is valued here. Unfortunately, having it 2 feet above grade near the house with windows and HVAC, which is attached to the house, it unfortunately wouldn't work. So I'll be doing the 24-inch platform in the driveway. It is a gravel driveway. There'll be no vegetation disturbed, but was going to add it to the current order of conditions for vegetation that I will be replanting for anything that's been disturbed as part of the walkway, and then any of this renovation, which again, I haven't gone outside the footprint of the home. So just wanted to make sure that putting the generator in the driveway, piping the gas from the corner of the basement to the generator, which is just a couple of feet, wasn't going to be a problem for the commission.
Okay, David, why don't I stop you there, and I'll open this up to questions from the members. Mary, question for David.
Yeah, was the sketch that you provided, was that the only thing that was submitted? Was there anything written or a specific request or anything like that?
Unfortunately, no. I think we just provided the location of where the generator would sit in the driveway based on the site plan that had been done as part of the walkway. It was just showing you the location that it would be in the driveway. It's a gravel driveway in the corner with the pipe that would go from the corner of the basement to the generator. So unfortunately didn't add any specific commentary on what we were looking to do, whether it be size of generator, but it would be on the raised platform that is the standard as I understand it.
Okay, so is it like a metal platform or something? How is it elevated?
Yeah, it's a great question. I don't have the specifics, but we can make it whatever the commission would recommend. Whatever material is best and required.
Yeah,
Happy
I'm
to do it.
asking just because you're in a velocity zone there, as you probably know. And so
Yes.
we just can't have a concrete base on it or anything, but typically we use helical piles or some structure like that. And it looks like getting up the 2 feet will get you out of that velocity zone,
Mhm.
based on the topo that you have on the plan.
Mhm.
My only question is just procedurally, like we don't have a specific request that's been submitted, and typically we would do this under a request for determination. It sounds like in past, we've done generators under request for determination. Under the other provision of minor modification, there's 2 ways of modifying an order of conditions. Well, one doesn't really modify it at all. It's just a minor modification is really a field adjustment to an existing order of conditions. So it's just a minor kind of a minor adjustment that doesn't really increase impacts. Then there's an amendment to the order of conditions that actually you get a new permit, and you go through the butter notification process and all that. I'm not suggesting that we necessarily need to have an amended order, but at least our RDA. I don't think this is a minor modification. If you had come in with this any other way, we would probably handle it under an RDA. That way you get the public notice in the newspaper and it gets hit. We have the actual paperwork that we can act on. Right now, we don't have anything to really specifically act on. So I am only objecting to the process. I don't have any concern with the actual work. It seems like that's a really good location for it, to put it right on the crushed stone driveway, and it would minimize the impacts in that location.
I think the guidance that was given, David, was get before the commission and then take the next step from there, so that and again, I think, Mary, the last half a dozen generators have all come in as RDAs.
Right, that's what I thought. Yep.
With a pretty standard guideline. So
yeah, just more awkward to try to use it as to tag it. It's a little bit more awkward to try to stick it to an order of conditions when you would have to do that under an amendment process, and that's the longer process. So I'm just suggesting an RDA, and that way we have all the paperwork. As long as you're not too time sensitive, it's a pretty simple form. It's like 2-page form, and you can resubmit the same sketch, and then you'll have something to act on. That's my
Sounds good.
recommendation.
okay, yeah, I think that was the whole point. Where we had an open order of conditions, could you do the RDA, or did you have to? What was going to be we know what the most efficient way would be, which is exactly what you've suggested, Mary, which is the RDA. So
yep. In this case, where we have a stamp survey plan, we know exactly where it's going in relation to the FEMA flood zones, which is helpful. We don't always have that, so that's helpful. And I think my previous correspondence with you, Bob, I thought it was reversed. I thought that we approved the generator and this was for the deck repair. So had the project reversed.
They all become some version of the same.
Yeah.
All right, Mary, I'll circle back. Let me go through the rest of the members, but I think we get a decent plan to go forward. Mick, what are your thoughts on this one?
No, I totally agree with Mary. I think going through the RDA process makes it a little bit smoother, probably easier on your end, David. Just as we get there, I think helpful to us, as Mary mentioned, a little bit more detail and a plan of the construction of the platform. And I might suggest seeing it's in a kind of a driveway area, maybe some bollards, just to protect that generator unit and your investment, right?
100%.
Yeah, right.
Yeah,
and just detail on that constructions and what type of, bollards or some type of, vehicular protection can be used. That's my only suggestion, kind of make it go smoother for everybody. But, all in all, I think the location's great. And I think your plan is good. We just go through the right process.
Thank you, Mick. TJ, any questions for David on this matter?
No more than's already been said.
Okay. And Diane O'Brien, our learned attorney, what wisdom do you offer on this?
None here. Just the difference between the RDA and the field adjustment. So the field adjustment would just be something that it wouldn't apply here because this is more of an additional thing that's being added. It's not really a change, it's a full-on addition of something.
Yeah, if you're increasing impacts or you're doing something that would require additional conditions, you know, that aren't covered under the existing order, for example.
Yeah, because this
Usually
just didn't seem like
minor
it was.
modifications can be clerical corrections to the order or changes in planting plans and things like that, that really don't require further review or public notice.
Hence
Yeah,
the
it just seemed, because it was
minor
on the concrete.
modification.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay, anything else, Diane?
No.
Okay, so David, I think you have some direction from the commission. It actually is probably gonna be a little easier process. And talk to Chrissy and I think we can get you set up. There is I think it's $150 advertising fee. It
Yep.
has to be advertised at least 5 days before the meeting. It's not a public meeting, but it's noticed to the public, so.
Mhm.
All right, David, any other questions for the commission?
No, appreciate the input. We'll follow the process, and hopefully with the determination of applicability, we'll be good. Appreciate it very much. Thank you for the guidance.
Okay. Thank you, David.
Sure
All
thing.
right, next matter,
Thank you.
team, is, I don't know if I see anyone from. The next matter is a general project discussion. It's Whiffle Tree Works, 1 Marshmeadow Lane, Damon Jesperson. If you recall, team, this came in about a year and a half ago. And it was going through the planning board. It was going before the select board because it required a special permit. And there was a recommendation that they consider filing a 501c3, and that seemed to have streamlined some of the process. And that is what I've heard, is what they're doing. I did put in the file what was submitted, but this is at its beginning stages at this point. I don't know if there's anyone from any of the Jespersons here that want to talk about this. But there was a narrative of what they were looking to do, but we do not have a submittal, a formal submittal of any time. This was more an FYI. And I think we'll be piggybacking on what the planning board is doing. As I recall, Mary, were you on the commission when this got approved? Because as I recall, there were some easement, conservation restriction easements on the property.
Is this the access to Evenstride stables?
Well, yes, there's a barn there that they've been using for music, and they were trying to use it for more of arts gallery.
Oh, right, okay, kind of remember
Wedding.
this.
And
Yeah.
it never really got before us. But I mean, it really comes down to this, is if what they're planning to do is going to be within a jurisdiction, then they need to come in for a minimum an RDA or NOI.
What is it that they want to do? That's still the same?
They have an existing barn
Yep,
that they've been using for arts. They do, I don't want to use the word a flea market, but they kind of do a art gallery type of thing on a semi-regular basis. So that's what they want to do, where local artists can
okay.
display in that. But I think the big thing is parking, where they're going to park, and what disturbance or impacts they're going to have to anything we have jurisdiction on. And Diane, I see you have your hand raised.
Yeah, I remember this. They were talking about like weddings, and we had discussion about parking and porta potties, and
Right.
they compared it to Spencer Little, I think. I think they wanted to sort of do that.
Yeah. And as I recall, Diane, town council was the one that came back and basically informed them that if they came in as a 501c3, it was a much different process and a much smoother process than if it was, for profit. So.
Yeah. I remember.
But that's all I have, team, to, that's really the last matter that we have on our agenda. And again, I don't see any raised hands. Does anyone have any comments? I think we'll just kind of wait and see and let that come back in when we have something that's, officially before us. But
Yeah, I don't even see where the wetlands are on this one, so
yeah, they're gonna need to, whatever their plans were, it'd have to be updated with it.
yeah. Yep.
That was my one question. Obviously this kind of evolved before I was on the commission, but I didn't see anything in the narrative or either of those two documents where it even mentioned wetlands or wetland impact. So I don't know how it would fall under jurisdiction. Maybe I would probably just need to see a site plan or something, but
Yeah.
Mary?
Mass
excuse me,
GIS
Diane.
doesn't show any wetlands.
Yeah.
Wasn't it that there was a conservation easement that had been
That was it.
granted
Right.
Oh,
It was
a long time ago by like their parents or something? And
And it required I forget, I'd have to dig out what we did, because I
this
remember
is just from remembering. Yeah.
as I recall, we actually had sent off a memo. We had a request for a response from us. And basically it was just following the requirements of the conservation restriction. And if I, and Mary and Mick, you might know better. Usually does that have to go to the Secretary of State as well, once those have been accepted, or there's usually a higher authority than just a
Yes,
little
it does
town
have
of
to go
Newbury?
to
Mm.
DCR for approval,
Yeah.
and I don't know what, there are different types of restrictions, so it could have been one that was held by the town or one that was approved by the state. So we'd
know
have
what?
to see the language of it. I don't know.
I'm just gonna see if I have,
I think it was the town.
Yeah, I think next level above like local jurisdiction would be DCR.
DCR, yeah.
well, you know what, we'll have to. Hence, we'll have to get further information. I'll do a little research too to see what, as I recall, we had to send off a memorandum to the select board. There was a process there under special permits.
They may have to ask us whether or not the work that they're doing is consistent with the CR.
Okay. Team, other than that, why don't we go to the administration section? Does anyone have any other questions before we go to the administration section?
Nope.
So-
Nope.
So I guess the town, I haven't had a chance to talk to a town administrator. But I guess they've had some interviews on the job application for conservation agent. And I think that they're, you know what, I'm giving you third-hand information. It looks like there's hope on the horizon. I'm not
Yeah,
sure
for
when,
you.
who, or whatever, but it's been a team effort. Just not having an agent has made it a real
Yeah.
challenge. And Chrissy, our admin, has been doing yeoman's work, but it's been a challenge. So team, that's really all that I have to report.
I had
Well-
two things, if I could
Yeah,
add.
sure. I was just going to go around and ask.
Oh,
if-
great, thank
any-
you. One was the extension order that we issued for the that we approved for the trustees for their salt marsh restoration. They have not received that, and so I just wanted to
Mhm.
see if that was something you could put on your list. Bob, I sent you some email about that.
Yeah, I saw that, Mary. What I'm actually going to do is go back over the last 70, 80 days and see what's been approved, what's been issued. We've been able to get out the COCs and
The small stuff, yeah.
yeah, the easy stuff. We've been asking the consultants to submit the draft OOCs for our review until we get back up to full speed. But that's really not a bad idea. A lot of different commissions ask for draft documents on submittals. I think it takes a little pressure off the agent to redline someone else's work.
Yep. and I'm happy to help her with the extension if needed. And the other thing I wanted to sort of put on our radar, is that we really need to update our beach management plan. So that we don't have to file an emergency certificate next year for beach cleaning and go through the whole rigmarole again with natural heritage. So, I'd like, it's something that we're gonna have to probably do ourselves as a commission unless we have an agent, but we're gonna have to approve it nonetheless, as part of a filing. But I think we need to get that on our radar so we can have something moving forward, so we don't end up in
It sounds like a
hot
great
water
late,
again.
sounds like a great late fall, early winter project, Mary. But no, you're right.
Not an August project. No, I
Yeah,
agree.
Yeah, yeah, right.
yeah. And not a project without an agent, man. I'll tell you, this is.
No.
So. All right, anything else, TJ? Any final thoughts, comments? Mick, anything?
No, I just was going to ask if is there any process that with Brad's abdication, which I give him crap for every time I see him. So
He's a quitter. We call him a quitter.
yeah, absolutely quit. Recruited me and then quit, right? So, but no, is there any process that you commonly go through to search out new members of the commission? Or organic?
Honestly, it's really more organic.
Okay.
Anyone that has an interest, we usually just tell them to reach out to the town administrator, or to the select board, showing an interest. Those that have a CV or a resume would be best served to send that in, but, so, what, the good thing, we haven't had a quorum issue. It gets a little dicey though, when you're at 6 and then we all know how last minute things driving. I literally stop work around 2 o'clock on meeting days, just so that I'm not coming out of Boston and cursing, at traffic, trying to get here to open the meeting, but no, that's pretty much it, Nick. I think there's been a couple of people that have shown interest. You know what happens? Where it meets twice a month and sometimes, I mean, you have probably 50% of the time you're going to have a site visit. You start getting into 30 events a year that you're committing to, 24 meetings and minimum 6 to 10 site visits, or more, but and it starts to be once a month is a nice committee to be on. A couple of times a month with site visits gets a little more of a challenge.
So just good to know if I do run across somebody that might have interest, I can direct them towards reaching out to the town administrator.
Yeah, that's a normal process.
Yeah, we do have a number of people whose terms are expiring next year too, so.
Diane O'Brien.
Nothing.
You want to be a conservation agent? You're an attorney, you're a ag lawyer.
I don't think I'm qualified.
Yeah, what's the pay and bennies on that? I'm kind of looking
Yeah,
at,
Mick.
I'm gonna retire in a couple of
Pretty good
years.
deal.
You know what, it's the administrative part of it that is just moving paper really is the hard part.
I
But
could
it's
do that.
it's the most boring part of the job where, I mean, I think our past couple of agents who, I'd like both of them. They're more outdoor woodsy people that want to be outside. They want to make great game wardens, where that they're just out in the nature and not in the office. But
I could do that.
Yeah, and I think being in the field with Sean a few times, I think that was really his forte.
yeah, no,
Did a good rapport with people, and I think he had a good kind of
he was an outdoor guy, hunter, and but it's always the paperwork that not getting the meeting
Yes.
minutes done, not getting stuff posted, not getting documents out. That's what usually sets the world on fire. We are not a paperless society.
Not yet.
No, whatever they tell you. But all right, team, it is now 7:18, and I will entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
Okay, roll call, all in favor, Mary,
Definitely.
AJ, Mitch,
Aye.
Diane, Bob,
Aye,
Yes.
sure.
Yes.
check
Yeah.
all the boxes. Thanks,
Okay.
Mary.
Thank you.
Mary, I'll check,
Thank you.
again, I got a little jammed up trying to get this whole meeting open tonight. So
Understood.
I'll get caught
All
up
right.
on the other
Thanks.
stuff. All right,
All right.
thank
See
you,
y'all
guys.
soon.
Appreciate your patience.
See you on Monday.
Thanks,
Yeah.
Bob.
Bye, guys.